it's all about Godsmack frontman Sully Erna tonight on Loudwire Nights. Before we get into the new song Unforgettable, the video, the message behind it, all of that, how is quarantine life treating you? I feel like there's two things, right? Like, do you have a new hobby or a new habit?
Well, I certainly am learning to figure out how much I like the people that are in my lives every day. That's for sure. That kind of just, that's by default. No, everything's good, man. We're doing what everyone else is doing, man. We're just trying to live a bit normal, but being responsible. My daughter happens to actually be in one of the higher risk factors here. If this COVID thing is, kind of infecting people's lungs and building fluid and all this stuff, because she's been asthmatic her whole life. But she's almost 19 now. She's grown out of a lot of it because of cheerleading and gymnastics and those kind of things. But she's always had this kind of breathing disorder, and I just wouldn't want to see her catch it because that kid has been through a lot with breathing as it is. And my bass player, same thing. He's had some real lung issues in the past, and he's just like, I don't want to be anywhere near this thing, man. This is my biggest fear, is like dying from a way that I can't breathe.
Right.
So, but, for me, I like to think of myself as probably, really healthy compared to a lot of people. I run a lot. I'm a singer. I run around on stage. My lung capacity is pretty strong. So I'm one of those people that hasn't really been freaked out by this thing. And but I'm also trying to be responsible. Yeah. So, I stay home. I go to my studio, which is about 4 miles up the road. I have a very small group of people around me, and everyone who's around me, I know exactly where they are when they're not around me, and they're also being really responsible. So, I'm only in touch with maybe 4 or 5 people on a daily basis, but they're the same people.
Right. I saw somebody, I don't know who it is, somebody obviously close to you in your life, and they're like scaling a wall in your house or something. I'm like, what is happening over in Sully Erna's home? Someone's like,
oh, that was I
dragging
was trying
furniture.
to get the furniture out of the backyard and bring it up onto the deck, and I don't know. I was like, I don't want to run up and down the stairs. Just, go up on the porch and I'll hand it to you. And yeah, it became a little fiasco.
Staying busy. All right. Do you worry about the long-term impact of the pandemic that it may have on the music industry, or do you not foresee anything? I mean, they say life will never be the same, right?
I don't believe that. Listen, we weren't around in the early 1900s with the Spanish flu and things like that, which, not only wiped out millions of people, but created the Great Depression, right? And so imagine those times, and they didn't even have the luxury of telephones or internet and being able to communicate and having some kind of, humanity still exists. So they must have been super isolated. Mm-hmm. But you get through it, you rebuild, and you move on. And I really am optimistic about that. I think there's going to be a new learning curve. I think that, it's not going to snap back to normal the day that they come out with the cure for this. And I do think that's coming. But I think there's going to be a little bit of like, maybe concerts, sporting events, things like that might not be as strong in the beginning, because some of it has to do with I need to rebuild my savings account and not really spend money on concert tickets right now or sporting events. And the other thing is I think there's going to be a little bit of a shell shock factor with people that are just still a little freaked out about being around crowds when this thing could just be floating around a little bit still. Yeah. But again, I think in time, which if history has taught us anything, it heals everything. And I do think that like humans and Americans especially are very resilient. And, I think we're going to be okay, man. I just think we just got to ride this out and take it for what it is. Hopefully they'll bang China over the head for a nice big fat bill, replenish some of the economy. I don't know, but, I don't want that to sound racist. Don't go attacking me. I'm just saying that, they could have been a little more responsible with, like, knowledge at the beginning of this thing, so we could have prevented a lot of it. But that being said, I'm not pointing fingers. I just want to get back, and everybody wants to get back. Italy has gotten smashed, France, Spain, everyone's recovering in their own way. So I think we are our worst enemy. And so the more the people know that this is in our control, and it will be in our control, the virus will go away. The doctors will get it. They'll figure it out. It'll be gone. But what happens during and after this is totally our responsibility. I don't think people should hide under shells and like be super freaked out. Let's just kind of like, these are the times where we need to stand together and unite and fight for it and just get back on track.
I like it. I like the confidence and I like the positive note. Thank you for that. Let's talk about the
Yeah.
band's latest song, Unforgettable, which is mainly why we are here. As I understand it, the story of Unforgettable begins years ago. So let's start at the beginning. Talk to us about your vision of incorporating kids into the song and why you felt that was important to do.
Well, it's been quite the journey with these kids. It was one of the last songs I wrote when we were working on the record. We were in mix mode actually, and Bulletproof was mixed and sent out to the labels, and they were already starting to service that on radio. And right at the last minute, I had this idea, and I came in and showed the guys, and we worked it out. But then as the song developed, it was really obvious to me that, it needed some kind of gang or choir chorus in the song. And I couldn't fill it up enough with just the four of us and tripling up vocals and trying to get that gang vibe. And then, I was thinking, am I going down this, kind of kid, fill up the room with the kids lane? Or so many people have done that. Do I want to do that? I'm like, whatever. We don't have it in our portfolio yet. Might as well, throw that in too. So that's how it started. But I worked with charities my whole life, like for young kids and kids that are in trouble or into drugs and alcohol or, violence and crime. And there's one specific organization called Community Alliance for Teen Safety. And so I reached out to the director, Sue, and she connected me with some of the school districts. And as soon as I put out the word, like the kids were really, really excited. So I was able to get, about 20 of the best singers from this one middle school who recorded with us. And, we knew that this was going to be a single. It was just a matter of when. Yeah. And as it became a single, I was like, you know what? We need to bring these kids on the journey because they're the ones who deserve it as well. Like they put time into this song, into this record. And there's been a lot of proud moments along the way, handing them their first album when it was done recorded, taking them to New York City and showing them the business side of everything and being able to visit schools and do these TED Talk style inspirational speeches. And, all the way through having them record with us and even shooting the video with us. And so, I wanted this to be a strong message about music and the importance of music and how it's affecting the generations to come and why it should be validated and not be the first thing that's cut from school systems when they're cutting their budgets, or why the Grammys should cut hard rock categories when it's one of the most relevant categories in the world. You take that away, you're kind of invalidating the Rolling Stones and the Zeppelins and the Aerosmiths and the Beatles along the way with that category. And I want them to understand the importance of it and what it means to these kids and hear it from their voices. So that's really what this video is about, is just making a statement and kind of saying like, what does music mean to you? Well, this is what it means to them. And you should hear it directly from the people.
So it kind of sounds like it started as, all right, we'll have them pop on the song. But as you mentioned, it kind of evolved and became so much more, almost to the point where it's kind of like a mentor type situation. Do you still keep in contact with these kids?
Oh, yeah. And that's why it went down that road. It did, I needed voices. There's no doubt the first step was like, all right, I need voices. I need to have a bigger group of kids and singing this part. That's what the song was dictating to me it needed. So, but once I seen the light in their eyes and how cool it was for them to record on a record and be in a recording studio, and, we invited them on tour to come up on stage and do a show with us. And it was just unbelievable, how much it meant to them. And now to some of them, it changed their lives forever. And they're like, I thought I wanted to be a musician and into music, and now forget it. Like they're sold. They're like, I want the bus. I want the tour. I want the whole thing. And so, it's nice to also see the talent. I've lived in the New England area my whole life, and I'm sheltered from a lot of it. And so to be able to kind of do this call to action for a music video and see the amount of amazing musicians that came out. I mean, I must have auditioned hundreds of drummers to get to the best 30 or 35 that's in this video. And when you see the video, you'll understand. It's just it's an amazing finale, like 30 plus drummers playing all in synchronicity, and over 400 middle school kids singing and having fun. And none of it was scripted. It was just let them go, let them feel the music, and let them really have fun with this thing. So it was a blast to get in there and direct these kids and like really see what music does to people.
I've actually seen a rough cut of the video. I don't know if it's the final, but I do have an idea of what the video will be by the time this airs. The video will be available everywhere for everyone to see, the Unforgettable video. I'm wondering, how do you go from like 20, 30 kids, whatever, on the song to 400 kids in the music video? And how difficult was it to maintain the focus of 400 kids at once? God bless teachers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I know.
crazy.
Yeah, it was, it was actually not too bad, man. They were really excited to be there. They were really good at listening. The teachers do an amazing job at getting these kids' attention, at least in those grade ages. I mean, and we did invite a lot of students from a lot of different areas and of all age groups. But, they weren't too bad to work with, because I think they're just used to being schooled, used to being taught, and used to following instructions for the most part. And this was a fun project for them. But it was also something that was really important to them. They had a voice in this video, and you'll see when the video begins, it has a lot of the kids' comments just talking about music and what it means to them. We didn't script that. Those were their answers. Like, it's really something that, I think is special, and I'm hoping this video shows people not only how much music heals, but the power of music and how important it is, even in times like this. Everyone's gravitating towards music, right? It's that go-to remedy. So if it's that important and heals people that much, don't invalidate it by pulling it out of the Grammys. Don't invalidate it by pulling it out of the school systems. Even this crap that we heard recently, right, with Nancy Pelosi and them signing that bill to keep the Kennedy Center open and all that. And then they get it, right? Trump finally like, okay, here's the money, just go save your thing, and I'm trying to fix the world.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, within, I think it was an hour or two after the bill was passed, for them to save the Kennedy Performing Arts Center, they fired the entire orchestra, fired them all. I'm like, well, there it is again. Music loses, right? It's something that I think people take for granted sometimes, and it should be more important than trigonometry in schools. Unless you're going to be a rocket scientist. That's cool.
Good luck with that. Good luck.
But most people aren't.
What do you want to see under the hashtags that we're using for this? Hashtag Unforgettable 2020 and hashtag The Gift of Music 2020.
Well, I'm hoping it's all based around how powerful music really is and how important it is and how much it heals and what a gift it really is, because, music is really an anomaly. If you think about it and break it down, music is nothing more than frequencies, right? They're just simple vibrations, something vibrating. When you stretch it tighter, it gives you a higher frequency. When you stretch it lower, it gives you a lower frequency. But the mystery really lies within why, if it's just nothing more than vibrations, why does it create emotion? Why can we listen to a violin player without any lyrics attached or anything and become emotional from that? Like, that's really powerful, right? It's one of those things, you could hear a song and it can bring you right back into time when you first heard it, when you were with your friends, what you were feeling. You can sense everything, right? There's nothing else in this world like that except for maybe scent. You can smell something and go, oh, it's my grandmother's house. It's weird, but you know what I mean? It's like scent is another one of those gifts, right? And music does the same thing. It's very powerful, and I just hope people get the real message in this video, because I think they're going to love seeing these kids go on this journey. And the finale is just really fun and awesome to watch them all just going for it at the end. But the real message is, these are the kids saying, this is how important this is to us, so don't strip it from us.
Every band's current headache. How much of a hit has Godsmack already taken in terms of touring and shows? And when do you anticipate getting back on stage?
Well, yeah, we've obviously lost our entire year of work, just like a lot of people. I mean, millions and millions and millions of dollars gone that, would have been our touring cycle this year. And it was the last leg of the When Legends Rise tour. So we're kind of bummed about that, because we really had this one big giant tour left to do, and we wanted to end this thing on a strong note with the new video and the single and all that. But, what are you going to do, man? I'm not going to sit around and complain. I'm trying to always look at the positives and all the negatives. And, this just gives us an opportunity now to focus on creating some more music. And instead of trying to fight our way into the fall season with all the other bands that may try to do their tours and try to claim your piece of real estate, I think our strategy is going to be more like, let's push it out and be first next year in the summer, get our record done, just make the best album that we can, just go from there. And hopefully everything will be back to normal by then, and we can just get back to enjoying doing what we do.
Shannon Larkin, and we'll wrap on this note, but Shannon Larkin already kind of shared that you guys are working on new music. I wonder how making new music in such a strange time, I guess, for lack of a better word, creeps its way into the music. It's probably too early to tell, but what can you tell us about working on the new music?
Yeah, it's, for me, I don't know what those guys are doing. They live in a different state, and I know they're working and they're trying to get in the studio every day and just stay motivated, at least Toni and Shannon, because they live very close to each other. And for me, I pop in and out of the studio, and I'm just trying to open those wounds again and trying to get, information. And, it takes a while when that instrument in your body shuts off, because, you go from creative mode into recording mode, and then from recording mode into touring mode. And after you get from mixing, recording mode into touring mode, after those two steps, it takes some time to open that up again and get back into creative mode. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm in this transitional period where not a lot is happening for me just yet, because there is a lot going on, but it'll happen. And the more I'm there, it only takes one song to really kind of set the tone for what the next record's going to be. And I'm just kind of waiting to discover that song right now.
Got it. We're in a waiting pattern at the moment, but the floodgates will open soon enough, surely. Awesome. So to recap, you got to watch the Unforgettable video. It will put a smile on your face. It'll be available everywhere for your viewing pleasure by the time you hear our voices. As always, we'll keep you updated on the latest concert news, whatever that may be. Stay safe, Sully. And as always, thank you so much for your time.
Of course. Yeah. Stay healthy, stay safe, and we will see each other again soon. Everybody keep the faith, man. We're all good.